Hey YouTube, I'm Chris, and today I'm going to show you how to make my extra meaty cheesy nachos in the several different varieties and sizes that you can make for your next party or even for a lunch. So first of all, the first size we have is from the toaster oven, which I'll tell you about a little bit later in the video. But here is the personal size that can feed 1 to 2 people. And that belongs in the toaster oven. And then next we have the next size up, which is this. And this will feed anywhere probably between 2 and 4 people. And this is the one we're going to be using today. And finally, we have this size, which I'm sure will probably feed anywhere between, I don't know, 5 and 8 people perhaps at your next party or something like that. You can also use any other larger size that you like. So what we're going to do, like I mentioned, is we're going to go ahead and use this size, and I'll show you on all the steps on how to make the cheesy and meaty nachos in just a moment. Okay, and so we're back. I'm going to get started on the extra meaty cheesy nachos. And at the moment I have 1.5 pounds of ground beef being defrosted, and that's just about done. Of course, you can use as little or as much meat as you would like, and even different kinds of different meats if you like. So what we'll do is I'll get the stove going here. We'll get some Pam into this pan. So it's been another 19 seconds left to go. And so while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and get this the oven going. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll set the oven for 350. And as you heard, the meat is defrosted, so we'll get that started. And this is still frozen. This will take a little while to go ahead and get defrosted and going in the pan. So that needs to warm up anyway. So while that is happening, I'll scooch over this way, and just so you can see, I'm using the Tostitos Scoopy Chips, the party size, and for 2 to 4 people it takes about a good half of a bag, and of course you might need a whole bag for anything more than that. So I'll bring my pan over here. Get some aluminum foil and some Pam non-stick spray. Get that down good, like that. So we'll take these scoop tips and the way I like to do it is I like to layer up a good 2 at a time. Alright, so we got them pretty much all covered, and as you can see we still got a good half of a bag left. So that'll be for next time. You can use as many chips as you need. You can just put on 1 layer of chips if you want, or 2 or 3, however many you like. So now we'll scooch back over this way, and we'll get this meat really good and browned up. And so when we get that all finished, we'll be back and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, we're back, and this meat is pretty much all done. So we'll take it off the stove, and we're going to drain the grease into a separate bowl. So we'll scooch over here. I got this bowl and strainer here. And get this all drained in here. Alright, that's probably good enough. So now we're going to move over this way, and we'll be putting the ground beef into this pan of chips. And as you can see, I'm using the Sargento 4-state cheddar cheese. And if you wanted to make it extra cheesy, you can put 2 of these bags on there, or however many that you would like. Or if you wanted to make extra meaty, you can add in more meat or less meat, or more cheese, less cheese, whichever. So it's what's kind of nice about having the different varieties. Make it any size that you need for your party or lunch or dinner or a snack or whichever you might like. So try to spread this all evenly. Pound and a half of meat will just about cover. Sometimes you can kind of spread it around just a bit, something like that. So now we're going to spread this around. Usually 1 bag of cheese is good. I could always probably use just a bit more, but usually 1 bag of cheese is plenty. that should make a pretty good little covering. And now we're going to put in some seasoning. You don't have to do this, but it does make it taste just a bit better. I'm using bacon and chive seasonings, but you can use any other seasonings that you would like that you think would taste good, or maybe none at all if you wish. But this does tend to enhance the flavor. Make a really good little covering. Of course, you don't want to put too much on there, then it'll be a little bit too spicy. So we got that. So next we're going to put this in the oven. And I do have the oven already set for 350. Okay, so we got that in there, and now we're going to set the time. Like I mentioned on another video, the time on this stove or oven tends to be just off by a minute or two. So I'll put it in for a good 17 minutes. But probably between 15 and 16 minutes is all you might need on that. Okay, so now we got the nachos in the oven, and some of you might wonder if there was a way that you could make these in the toaster oven, and yes, you can. And I tried that before, and I'll show you a toaster oven here. However, on the toaster oven, it's going to be quite a bit different because the toaster oven is not near insulated as the regular oven would be. So what you end up having to do is you're having to adjust the temperature probably right about, I would say, probably 400 or 425. And then what you have to do is that because it might take a little longer, it might take a good 30 minutes or 35 minutes for the nachos to bake in a toaster oven. So what you'll need to do is, after you put the nachos in the oven for 425 or somewhere in that range, just have to still very carefully watch the nachos to watch that the cheese is really well melted to your preference. So you can make these in a toaster oven. You just have to have it for a much higher temperature and a little longer time, and like a good 30-35 minutes, and just during that time just watch to see how it's turning out. If you need more time, you can add a little bit more time in it. Another question you might have would be if you can make these in a convection oven, such as this microwave here that does have the convection part in here. And I have tried the nachos one time in a convection oven, and it does work. It's just that on the pan, what I found out is I had the aluminum foil up a little bit too much, and the heat couldn't quite get to one section of the pan. So a portion or a section of the chips of the nachos did not quite bake quite all that well. So as long as you do have all of the sides of the pan of the aluminum foil wrapped down really well on all sides. Here, like I'll show you here, if you have the aluminum foil wrapped all the way down on all the sides on that pan, then you can put it in the convection oven, and it should bake just as well at 350 degrees for a good 15-16 minutes. And so it would still work just as well that way. And as you can see, the cheese is already starting to melt, and so we'll give this for the time it needs to cook, and then we'll be back to take it out. Okay, it's been a good 17 minutes. The nachos are done. We'll take them out of the oven and see how they look. It looks pretty good to me. Looks right about good enough to eat. Alright, so we'll put that on the table, and so we're going to start to go ahead and devour these nachos down. So make these yourself sometime for your next party or lunch or dinner, whichever it might be. So now you know how to make the extra cheesy meaty nachos, or whatever the variety might be. Okay, well, stay tuned for the next video, and thanks for watching. Bye.